Hello there, this is the Bookkeeping Master on YouTube. Welcome to a brand new series. This series will teach you the basics of doing bank reconciliations on Xero accounting software. I will be honest with you, bank reconciliations on Xero are not very straightforward. If you're used to doing bank reconciliations, say on QuickBooks Online, which has an actual bank reconciliation feature, you tick transactions, you work toward an ending balance. When everything balances, you can click reconcile. It closes everything off, marks it as reconciled. Hey ho, you're good to go. Older Sage packages are the same. Xero, however, doesn't have this very simple feature. It's actually quite complex and it's not great. I love Xero accounting software. There's so much about the software that is good. It is my most recommended software, apart from QuickBooks Online. But the reconciliation features, if you can call it a feature or features, is pretty pants. It's not very good. But I'll do my best. I'm here to help you. I will teach you everything you need to know to have a good foundation and to give Xero bank reconciliations a go. The first thing is going to bank accounts here, so accounting and bank accounts. You have two options when it comes to accounting or posting banking information into the software. You can create a bank feed, meaning you connect Xero to your online bank accounts. So you create a feed between your business bank account and Xero, and every 24 hours Xero will download the bank payments and the bank receipts and put them on the software for you to review and post and reconcile. I highly suggest you do that you have a bank feed. It will really save you a lot of time, and you can do that on QuickBooks, Sage and lots of other packages. If you don't want to do a banking feed, then you'll have to do the traditional way of going through the bank statement and entering the transactions manually. Alternatively, you could export your statement as like a CSV file and then import that, upload that to Xero. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but that's another option. First of all, we'll cover the whole banking feed side because most of you will be using a banking feed. And then possibly the third video, the last video in this series, will go through the manual side of things. So if you do have a bank feed, you will have this reconcile button here on the bank account. If you have multiple bank accounts, you will have multiple buttons for each bank account. You simply click reconcile and it will show all the transactions to the left here which have been downloaded, imported through the bank feed and need posting to the software. So everything to the left here are transactions that have been downloaded that need posting to Xero. Once they're posted, by clicking OK, that transaction will be marked as reconciled, and the difference between the statement balance and the balance in Xero should get tighter, should get closer. So the statement balance here to the left is what Xero has downloaded from the actual bank account. This is the actual bank account balance, whereas this is the balance in Xero. And obviously you want these things to match. And this will be out every 24 hours, as long as there's been transactions every 24 hours. So tomorrow more transactions will download and this statement balance will update. So you can actually reconcile the account every 24 hours if you want these two to balance all of the time, or balance at least once a day. So that's what that is up there. So here on the left we have our transactions that have been imported and need posting. And once again we click OK to post them. If there isn't an OK, then we have a few options here. Okay, we have a match option, a create option, a transfer option, and a discuss option, and I'll go through each of them with you. So this is 15th of November, fast pay, $1,223, pounds, euros, whatever, 91 cents, pence. That's the transaction. It's money out. It's spent. If this transaction needs to go against an invoice that's on the Xero accounting software, that's going to be a match. So we'd click find and match, would find the invoice the payment relates to, let's say Central Copiers. I know the amount is different. This is purely just an example. We would tick Central Copiers, and then down the bottom there'll be a match button, a reconcile button here. Obviously there's a difference here. I know there's a difference. You would click reconcile. This transaction will then match against that invoice. That payment will show on the Xero accounting software, and the transaction will be marked as reconciled, and it will disappear from this list. So once something has been matched or created or transferred or okayed, it will disappear from this list. That's what the match is. It's matching a payment against an invoice. If that's money spent, that's money matched against a purchase invoice, a supplier's invoice. If it's received, we're going to match it against a sales invoice. Any questions? Use the comment section below. I'm here to help you. Please use the comment section. I really like a response to these videos. Create is the next option. If we want to post a transaction to Xero as a bank payment or bank receipt, that's going to be create. So bank payment, bank receipt, that will be create. So this isn't against an invoice. Perhaps it's for Amazon, some pens that we bought, or perhaps it's like for fuel. You know, we could put Shell as the contact. We could put fuel down or traveling down as the what. So the what is the nominal code. Who is the contact. And Y is a short description of what the transaction actually was. So if this was for fuel, hypothetically, it could be that we put Shell in here, we put travel down, and then we can put fuel in here. You set your tax rate, if there is a tax rate, and your region, if you're using regions. Click OK. That will then disappear. And we can actually do that this time. Let's click OK. You can see it's gone. And it will be marked as reconciled. You can see the balance in Xero has also changed because that transaction has been allocated, has been posted to the actual software. When you're in this list on the left, they're not on the software. We have to match, create, or transfer them, or OK them to put them on the software. Okay, so that's match, that's create. This is against invoices. The create is to create the transaction as a bank payment or bank receipt. Transfer is when we are allocating the payment as a transfer from one of our bank accounts to the other. So we're saying this was spent $4,500 and it went to the business savings account. If you have multiple bank accounts, then you'd have multiple bank accounts to choose in this list. So this is money to or from a savings account or another bank account or a credit card that we have set up on Xero. You can transfer that. This last option is a discuss option. So if you're unsure what this transaction is, we need to check an invoice, or perhaps you need to ask your director or whatever it is. You can put a note on here. If you press Control and S, it will save the note, and then you can come back to that at a later time. So that's the four options there. Match, create, transfer, discuss. So what is this whole OK thing? Well, what Xero tries to do, it tries to be very clever, and it tries to match transactions for you, create transactions for you, create transfers for you, and this is their recommendation here. So they're saying, Xero's saying, the very clever AI software is saying this payment on the 25th of December, Ridgeway University, invoice 0035, received, is for this invoice here. It's matched it against an invoice dated the 22nd, Ridgeway University, invoice 0035618750. That looks like it is a match to me. I think Xero is doing the right thing. So it's trying to save you time finding the invoice yourself. It's matching it for you. If I click OK, it will simply just add that to the software. Mark the invoice as paid. You can see the balance in Xero has now changed. We have another one here. This was a payment. This time it's found another match for me. That looks correct. If it is correct, we can click OK. Now what Xero will do as you match, create and transfer more and more transactions is it will memorize what you've done in the past to try and give you suggestions in the future. If you don't have any suggestions appearing, then you need to tick this box down the bottom. Suggest previous entries. Okay, so if you tick that, it will suggest items for you. So this smart agency 4,500, if I were to create that, say, as a bank charge, the next time there is a payment to smart agency, it will come up in green to the right and say this is a bank charge. It tries to memorize what you've done previously and suggest that going forward. If you don't want to go this suggestion, you simply just click on create or transfer or whatever, or find and match here and find what the correct invoice is or create the correct payment. I know I'm going through this quite quickly, so obviously you can rewatch the video, but use that comment section below. I'm happy to answer questions. You can also drop me an email. Okay, so that's the options here. With the OK, you can see this one's a bit different. This one isn't green. This one says apply rule. And that's what we're going to go through in the next video. So part 2 of this series will cover rules. So it's not just suggestions that Xero puts on this reconciliation screen. We can create our own rules to really speed things up. For example, we could create a rule that every time the description is Cooper Street Bakery, that the transaction is automatically allocated to subsistence. Or each time there's a transaction that says Shell or BP, we can create a rule so that transaction is automatically posted to travel. To save you reviewing and clicking OK, these rules can just apply everything for you. But that will be explained in the next video. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you in part 2 of this bank reconciliation series.